welcome back to the Box Score. Today we're going to be talking about UFC 272. It's specifically the Masvidal versus Colby Covington fight. So today I'm here with myself,
Oz,
Alvin,
Stefan.
and so we will be starting this off by Stefan. I want to ask you a question. Obviously, Colby and Masvidal used to have a close relationship. What is the backstory behind this? I know you're a big Masvidal guy.
So basically, there's this fighting team called American Top Team. They have a lot of different gyms, but their main one is in South Florida. And they needed help. They have a lot of great UFC fighters, and they needed help with their wrestling trainers and like people to help out with the wrestling. So they put out something online. So basically, you could send your application, and Colby sent his. Basically, he was a D1 wrestler, really good wrestler. So they allowed him into the gym, and he started training with people. And at the same time, Masvidal was training at the same gym. And when Colby was helping Masvidal with wrestling, so then Masvidal was like, okay, you know what? Since you're helping me with wrestling, I'm going to help you with striking. So not only was Masvidal helping Colby with his striking, he also let Colby use his striking coach, which they are really close with. Like, Masvidal says that coach is the reason why he's famous, the reason why he's not in the hood right now. And so basically, Colby, Masvidal, and this coach were really close, and it even became Colby's coach. And as Colby was going into the UFC, winning fights, he was using Masvidal's striking coach, and it was great. And then there came to a point where the coach told Masvidal that Colby wasn't paying him, and Masvidal was shook because like they were best friends, and he wouldn't understand why he didn't pay the coach. So he calls Colby, and Colby says, "Oh no, don't worry about it. I got it covered." And then so Masvidal was like, okay, fine, he got it covered, just to find out that he was lying. So then after that, since Masvidal is so close with that coach and even looks at him as like a father figure sometimes, he ended his relationship with Colby and says he's a traitor.
And obviously we're going to be talking about the fight itself in this podcast, but Stefan just brought up something very interesting about Colby specifically not paying the coach. And it's obviously because of the minimum money that the UFC fighters make, right? So they couldn't make specific money. So maybe the next podcast will be about how or what the UFC should be doing in order to fix that. But let's get into our specific fight predictions for 4 of us. So Alvin, who do you think is going to win, Colby or Masvidal, and why?
Personally, I have Colby Covington winning. When you look at him over time, he's become this super decorated striker. Where against in the Robbie Lawler fight, at the end of the 5th round, he threw the spinning back fist off of that crazy kick and landed a flush, cut his eye. And you could see over time his progression with striking. I think mixing that with his insane wrestling, his takedown percentage is only around 47%, which doesn't look great on paper. But in reality, it's him mixing it up in the clinch, grabbing legs, and then throwing strikes. So I think that just how he mixes up striking and wrestling so well, I think Jorge has no chance just because although he does have BJJ, his takedown defense just isn't good enough for Colby.
And can you specifically tell me the round that Colby's going to end this fight in, or decision, or whatever? What do you think?
Yeah, I say Colby by TKO in the 3rd round.
You think TKO Colby?
I
really?
think so.
Okay, interesting. Really?
Maybe actually, can I? Actually, I say rear naked choke, 3rd round.
Okay. Would you like me to go next? So for myself, I also think Colby's gonna win, but I think Colby's gonna win in decision. I think Colby's last 10 or so fights, or the last 10 wins or something, he's only won one. That's not decision, and that was a TKO with the broken rib of Woodley. So I think that he's gonna, especially against Masvidal, who's like an elite striker, he's gonna go and wrestle him down in that grinding style that he has, the boring fighting style. Specifically, I think that Masvidal isn't that good against the wrestlers. We saw him against Usman and things like that get totally taken down. So I think in that sense, Colby is just completely an advantage. So he's gonna use his grinding style, and he's gonna win in a decision. Yeah, by points.
I have to agree with both of you. I think that Colby Covington will win it as well. I think that Usman is a very good striker. He's shown that in all his fights.
Masvidal?
Sorry. Jorge Masvidal is a very good striker, and he's shown that in all of his fights. But I think that in terms of an all-round fighter, Colby Covington has not only improved his striking to where it's on par with Masvidal, in my opinion, but I do think that in terms of wrestling, Colby Covington is so out of Masvidal's league and Masvidal's defense for wrestling specifically and for takedowns is so horrible that Covington is going to have a field day with him in terms of the ground and pound game. I also think that in terms of rounds, it's either if Colby Covington wins, I do agree with you, Adam. I think it'll be decision. And I think Colby will win 4 out of the 5 rounds. But I think that if Masvidal wins, I think that he'll need to win in the first round.
You think the first round?
I think he'll need to come uber aggressive in the very first round.
I don't know if it's the first round, but I definitely know that if Masvidal, I think before Stefan gets into his, I think if Masvidal wins, it's going to be a knockout or a TKO or something.
I agree, yeah.
All right. So I disagree with. Let's start with Alvin. Rear naked choke in the 3rd round. First of all, 3rd round is way too early for Masvidal to get gassed like that. If he's in the rear naked position in the 3rd round, he's going to do everything and probably waste all his energy and then probably get choked down the 4th or 5th. But I think Masvidal's winning. And, like, the thing is, the reason I say this, if this was a normal fight, they didn't have, like, this best friend to villain, like argument, I would say Colby is going to win because he could easily just take him down and end it. And he has the stamina for it, and Masvidal doesn't. But since this fight is so hyped up and Masvidal told him, like, you better not be just taking me down and stuff. It's like everybody wants to see the striking. I have a feeling that Colby, he's very much about his pride. He's not going to just take him down and just do that. So I think he's going to go up with Masvidal in the first 2 rounds, and I think he's getting knocked out in the 2nd round.
You think a knockout? I agree with you in the sense that, although you didn't give me a rebuttal from me all those reasons, but
yeah.
I agree with you in the sense that, which I would like to hear. I agree with you in the sense that if Masvidal wins, it's going to be an early knockout, and I think that Colby, I agree with you that his pride won't allow him to do that style in the beginning, but I feel like towards the end, that's why I was maybe said he would win 4 or 5, and I kind of agree with that because one of the first 2 rounds, Masvidal wins, and then I think he's going to do that and throw his pride away. Also,
you said Colby winning by decision.
Yeah.
I don't think that if it goes past the 3rd round that Masvidal is going to be able to stick with Colby. I think, like, if it passes the 3rd round I think Masvidal is going to win in the 1st or 2nd round, probably the 2nd, maybe 3rd. But if it goes past the 3rd, I think he's going to get knocked out in the 4th or probably 5th by Colby. So? Or just he's going to get gassed and something's going to happen, like rear naked choke.
But the same reason you said, like, there's so much on the line for this fight, things like that, I feel like he wouldn't. Like, I feel like he wouldn't give up. Like, it's not a fight. It's one of those fights that you don't really, like, give up on. It's really, like, losing. So,
yeah. I see that.
Yeah. I agree with Stefan about how I think Masvidal is coming into this fight with much more heart because, like, with the whole thing with not paying the coach, I think, it affected Masvidal way more because Colby's not giving Masvidal credit for all he's done for him, like letting him sleep on his couch and whatnot. So, I think that when you look back at the Colby-Lawler fight, Lawler, in a sense, is kind of a similar fighter to Jorge, but I would say Jorge's striking is a little bit better, while Robbie Lawler's wrestling is much, much better because he's been wrestling all life. Yeah. But when you look back at that fight, Colby just destroyed him with all the takedowns. Like, I think he had 9 takedowns before the 3rd round. So it was just pretty crazy how much, like, he was able to beat on some guys who've been wrestling all life. And then when you look at the fight with Usman, he landed 1 takedown against someone who has 100% takedown rate, which isn't 100% takedown defense, which isn't really true. But it still shows he is a great takedown defender, and Colby was able to take him down. They didn't count it, but it was a takedown. Yeah. So I think against someone like Jorge, who isn't as decorated of a wrestler as these other guys, I say that Colby just has so much more of an advantage.
And Colby did show hard in that fight, and I feel like he really, really wants to win after the last loss. He wants to come back and make it his year this year. So, yeah, I think it's important. Do you have any other thoughts about that before we go into the next question?
No, I agree with everyone, but I will say that I think that Masvidal, we talked about what's on the line, but I think that Masvidal might even tell his coach that he's fighting for his coach, considering what his coach has done for him, and that might add a lot to Masvidal's game.
I want to add one more thing. Masvidal seems to be training with this really good wrestler from Penn State, Bo Nickel, but I would think that's a good thing. Most people think that's like a really good thing that he's practicing his wrestling with like a really good wrestler, national champ. But Bo Nickel, it's different. A wrestling coach and a wrestler is different. Like when you're a really good wrestler, although you're a really good wrestler, you're not a coach. It's hard to teach people who don't know the basics, like how to wrestle. Therefore, I don't think Jorge's wrestling is gonna get any better.
Yeah, also it's too soon, and you can't compare it to someone like Colby, who's like been the best at it for so long.
I agree.
All right, so obviously we three think, me, Alvin, and Oz, think that Colby's gonna win. So what do we think is gonna be Colby's next chapter if he wins this fight? And then I'll get into if Masvidal wins with you. Well, yeah, what do you think, Alvin?
So obviously he won't get a direct shot at Usman again.
Never.
So what I think is, if this is pretty, it's pretty crazy to say, but if Khamzat beats Burns, I say Khamzat versus Colby.
Oh yeah.
Because in a sense, Khamzat is kind of the Conor McGregor of the welterweight, middleweight division, like because he fights in both.
Yeah.
But right now, in a sense, he's the fastest growing fighter. He grosses tons of money already, and I think that if he does beat Burns, who's a top 5 in the welterweight division, top 3, I think that to show that he's legit, he'll have to go against the best guy under the champ, which is obviously Colby. So, yeah, I'd say Colby comes up next.
And then the winner of that fight goes to Usman? Is that what it's going to be? Colby, Usman?
I think so.
I just think Usman hasn't fought anyone different. He fought Masvidal twice, Colby twice, and he fought Burns, right? So
yeah.
So
but Leon Edwards is next. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll see. That's another interesting fight. I actually totally agree with you. That's some good stuff. So yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah, do you?
I actually completely agree. The winner of the Khamzat Burns fight is going to fight the winner of this fight.
I believe so.
And then we'll see if they are allowed to get another shot at Usman if it's still the same.
Unless it's a draw, this fight, or there was you could tell that there was some sort of cheating, and I think there might be a rematch or something like that from this fight.
But if there is a clear loser, I actually think that person will go against Bilal Muhammad.
Oh, okay.
And because he's been someone who's been super underrated in this division and hasn't been getting any credit, although he should be. Well, I think he is a top 5 now, but he's not
Top 6.
Top 6, yeah. He's not getting much credit. So I just think that when someone loses, the Bilal might get the chance.
All right. And Stefan, what do you think Masvidal is going to do after he wins this fight? He's obviously 37. He's getting older.
Yeah. I think if he beats Colby, I think that the UFC might give him a fight with a lower ranking fighter first.
Yeah.
To give him and then if he wins that, give him one more shot. Maybe not at a title, maybe against Leon Edwards. But I think that Leon Edwards is going to beat anybody else besides Usman. I think that Leon Edwards versus Colby, Leon Edwards is winning. Because when I watched Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz, I was actually stunned by how good he was.
Yeah.
So I think even if Jorge wins, then goes against Leon Edwards, he's gonna lose. But I think Leon Edwards is taking whoever next is up.
All right, great opinions. Does anyone have any final thoughts? Any arguments? Anything? No?
Colby is not the king of Miami. He's the king of the Everglades. Jorge is the king of Miami, especially South Miami. And Usman is not the king of anything either. So let's go Masvidal.
All right. You heard that from Stefan himself. So that was our little podcast, upcoming pre-fight for ASIJ, just to talk about the UFC 272 fight card. And tune in next time when we will go over March Madness and our predictions on the bracket. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.